What's up, everybody? That's right here with more Final Fantasy XI. Last time we helped out the Pioneers Coalition with some issues they were having at the docks, and then we had to come back here and talk to Level. We had to wait a game day and wait for, basically wait for a game day to talk to him. So now we talk to him. So let's do that. This might hear me cough here and there. I am getting over a sickness, but doing better than I was. If you guys watching my Wake playthrough, and that's probably the day I was the worst. Oh, that's right. Just the Pioneer I wanted to see. The princess is here to see you. I nudged I could find you here, that's right. You do remember what transpired in Kimmy Drifts, don't you? Sure, like yesterday. Even though I don't really. Then I assume you'll be interested in hearing exactly where the lie that's spewed forth from Orthazime is directing us. Oh, that's right, her dagger was like, the key to where they're supposed to go. We parted ways, I took the liberty of unsheathing the blade in one more spot. That way, it would create another line for reference. Since the two separate paths had to intersect eventually, I used that to approximate the location. Just to be sure, I compared my proposed lie with the ancient records like the Founder King's travelogue. While none of my sources were too exact, I think it's safe to say we must head for the summit of Mount Khmer. One of the entries mentioned King August's visit to the mountain, which is probably as much proof as we're going to get. My guess is we'll have to find that serpent in the sky roosting there, shimmering scales and all. At least that's what the words of my father's poem say to me. And in each once shade dead in his land, the war of the swallow's white word shall be fulfilled. The warrants of forest shall rise, the murk blade high, and one of the white feathers shall flourish in the words sexed. If we're to believe in them, then the dragon that resides there is probably the key to quelling the strange plague afflicting our continent. For those reasons and more, that's right, would you mind accompanying me to the top of Mount Khmer? Of course. Thank you so much. Come to think of it, I've never actually met a dragon face to face. Snout, I can't help but feel afraid at just the thought of it. At least he'll be by my side, that's right. As an adventurer, you're probably best to hold broods of them. If that's the case, then I have nothing to fear at all. How lucky I am to have met you. No twittering like a schoolgirl, though. This is no trivial matter. When you've properly steeled yourself for the journey, come meet me at Yours Yet. Yours Yet. No, I've never once thought about stopping Arcelia. Why? Because despite her claims of being scared, I'm confident that she's as tough as any dragon. Besides, she's ventured deep into the jungle countless times already, no? Don't go spreading this around, but I might have some juicy tidbits for you to chew on. You know how you said you had no idea whether or not Arcelia was carried off by some beast? Well, I might have overheard the answer. Word has it that she was indeed dragged away in the blood-stained maw of some otherworldly abomination while resting outside the city gates. Does that get your knees and knocking or what? You can be sure that Zelda had the worst of it, but even the Order of Weatherspoon led search parties traveled the rocky road straight off the cliff of humiliation. They not only failed to find any clues as to her whereabouts by themselves, but were ambushed by hordes of creatures, the likes of which were heretofore undocumented. Some members even returned with grave wounds, supposedly inflicted by a tiger of monumental stature. Luckily, some capable pioneers stumbled upon them and were able to use their superior tracking skills to lead the exorcist to our princess. Close call for certain. Yeah, that was me. Order of Arcelia, I hear you thinking? The powers that within the 12 Orders forcibly persuaded the Order of Adolin to forbid her from entering the jungle on account of the dangers present there. I understand their cause for concern, seeing as how Arcelia is to be the next in line to lead the nation should her brother's health continue to fail. Long live Ignis. Are you sure your brain isn't in an otherworldly skirmish right now? What happened after that? What do you think? She's not one to just lie. Damn. She's not one to just lie there after falling off her horse. She got back up and registered herself as a pioneer, that's what. Yeah, good for her. I believe her exact words were, our sovereign nation is no monarchy, nor is anyone from our order guaranteed a position of leadership. As long as my brother remains the Chancellor, I'm just another citizen to this fine city. Furthermore, well, let me lower this. There we go. Furthermore, as any citizen may apply to become a pioneer, I choose to exercise that right. I assume none of you take issue with the legislation you first enacted, do you? I just spit the frontier soda I was drinking all over the lane. I heard about it. To think that Arcella already wants to head back into the jungle despite almost being devoured. I mean, they don't know the full true story like we do, but... It was exactly because of that experience that she decided to get official permission this time. Although I guess the maesters and ministers would rather her trapezing about the forest under the auspices of the Pioneers Coalition than sneaking off in the dead of night. None of this really answers the question of what that monster wanted her for, but maybe this is the perfect case of all is well that ends well. Anyway, the bottom line is that no one can stop Arcella now. It's not like she'll be completely on her own either. Her order will be informed each and every time she passes through yours yet, and they're bound to employ a bodyguard for her when you're off slicing your way through the jungle. Now, when you escort the princess, you'll not only have her opinion of you on your mind, but the eyes of every member of Adelinian Order on your back. Does that get your blood pumping or what? In all seriousness though, I believe in you. The fate of our princess is in your hands, that's right. Well, she's just gonna be just fine then. Look at her waiting for us. I've never been more determined to face... I've never been more determined... Wait, what? I've never seen a more determined face than yours is right now, that's right. Good to know you're ready. Well then, shall we get going for Mount Khmer? Let's go. Alright, so we should be able to warp there, because we have... I think there's still one survival theme we don't have, but we haven't moved into that area yet. So it says the fastest way to get there is through... third one, which I do have, cool. Alright. So let's mount. Actually, let's see if I can do this yet. I couldn't do it when I logged in. Now we're good, okay. Then we want to go to H5. At H5 there is an alpine trail that we want to examine that's going to take us to the mountain. Oh, you know, I was freaking out. I was like, wait, why is the Chocobo music not playing? I forgot last stream I had to take off Windower because it was crashing one of the cutscenes. Alright, there it is. I'm assuming this area is not that big. It's telling us that I have to zone. Shit. Into... Oh no, this is it. Never mind. Just gonna send us back, I think. To town. He's got like a snake neck. And be gone from here. You frail mortals should have thought twice before ascending this peak. I have no patience for those who desecrate the forest. Depart at once. If you do not, then I have no choice but to swing the radiant hammer of vengeance down upon your meager frames. Wait, Your Eminence, before you judge us, I would like you to take a look at this. That blade. That's right. Can you show him the proof of your bonds to this forest too? Sounds like a plan. burning stare in our direction. Orthozine and a Rosalicious poem. You mean to tell me that you were not like the rest of those pillagers, but staunch believers in August and his desire to preserve the forest? You refer to the founder king by his first name, so you knew him personally? But he lived centuries upon centuries ago. You couldn't possibly. Of course I knew him, for I am Sajaka. He's got a weird, very odd-looking face. Not only did I know the first Edelin king, I swore my allegiance to him. Was it centuries ago? Millennia. Time flow for many things, but upon Sajaka that's touchest not. Seas change, lands change. Even should the stars fade from existence, the covenant made with August shall not break. My eyes, the lives of your kind, are as delicate and transient as bubbles in a stream. Your moments of glory, mere sparks from flint. Inconsequential, insignificant, and substantial. Such is how I came to conceive of your peoples. Like fucking ants, damn. August has been the only exception. His aura shone brighter than my refulgent scales, and his resolve was strong enough to wrest me from the realm of shadows. That is not the lone justification for why my memory of him will persist until the end of time, but it's an important one. What of you, spindly-legged foal? Does the respect for the king you claim to harbor within that minuscule bosom of yours amount to even a drop in the sea compared to what I showed him while he was alive? Well, hopefully you can at least answer this simple question. As for preface, you are here for the Seven Guardians to protect the Olbukian hinterland, are you not? Yes, I am. They are the Naquils, right? Is that the ephemeral sobriquet they have been given by your kind? Very well. I shall not waste my breath explaining the rest. However, there is one more guardian who fought alongside August, a worthy tiger whose fur shone illustrious gold. That must be... My eyes watering. That must be Terkulin. I recall reading about him during one of my trips to the library. What was the title of the book, though? His Majesty and the Golden Beast, that's it. Books, an inconvenient form of immortality, but perhaps the best of your ephemeral kind can hope for. If you are truly legend, or if you are truly learned, you should have no qualms about a simple test. Pray tell me, where did August meet Terkulin in combat? Where they fought, you say? Well, that would be... That's right, what did we do? I don't remember that detail at all. It's a trick question. The story makes no mention of where they fought. Confidence conceals ignorance only when the other party is ignorant as well. You misguided fool. In the end, you care little. You care as little for August as I care for dissemblers. The only one who saved me from that place where even the faintest hint of light is swallowed whole. Nestlings such as you can never hope to fathom his greatness. I was foolish to believe otherwise. I will not stand for this moment longer. I know not why that you trespass upon this land, and I no longer care. There's nothing left to discuss, for you have proven beyond a doubt that you are incapable of understanding August's will. Remove yourselves from my presence. Our conversation has left me weary of both speaking with mortals and life itself. He just fucking goes back to sleep. I'm so embarrassed, that's right. I don't want to admit it, but maybe he's right after all. It was silly of me to come here knowing so little. If I'm to make amends, there's only one thing left to do. That's right, let's burrow deep into Adelin's vault of knowledge and leave no page unturned in our wake. Alright, guess we're gonna go read. It's taking me right back to town. No. Unfortunate. I could warp. But you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the warp. Were those guys here when I walked this way? I don't think they were. And the warp's not that far. Alright, so we're gonna zone to the library. And then we're gonna read some stories again. Wait. Where the hell am I? Now that football's starting again, I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming this on Sundays, or at least my Sundays off. So I may start doing this on my day off of work as well, just so I can still get 2 days of it going. But then again, I only do stream this every couple weeks, so maybe I'll start doing this more often too. Maybe I'll do it every weekend, even if the weekends that I work. Just so I can get it moved along. Oh, you know what? I forgot I can't go in there. You know what? I'm just gonna warp then. I forgot it was a drop off. But we'll see because I haven't decided. I mean, really not much left. This is the last story arc one. I mean, you do have Rhapsodies, which we've been working on. The latest one, which is probably gonna be the last one, which was Vicarious Resurgence, which takes place after Rhapsodies. And then I do have like the little scenario ones which aren't that long. But we'll see. What I decide, I'm not sure. Alright, now that we're here though, I do have the weekly for Signet, so let me just grab that. And I'm on east, because we're going... The library is the first one right now. Library is... there. Alright, so we're going to go to the library, read some books, and then we're going to go back to the dragon and answer his questions, because we'll have the knowledge to do so. Stella, that's right, what a pleasant surprise. I assume that you are here to read more about the Founder King. If so, I have some unwelcome news. You've already read all our tomes that discuss what took place circa the establishment of our nation. Is that so? Do you have any idea what to do now? That's right. There are no books left to read. How are we going to answer that dragon's question? Pardon my ignorance, Ursula. I forgot the existence of a certain section. A certain section? Verily, warily. Allow me to educate you on the oft-overlooked part of our institution. But first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Osasha. Now I'm the conservator warder of this library. We have a severe dearth of patrons with an interest in the continent's ancient Taryu history, so it took me an exceptionally long time to recall, but we have closed stacks as well. Closed stacks? Precisely. As of now, we've only been reading the books available to the general public. In other words, you've not laid a finger on the pages of a concealed work. Okay. Sorry if I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Andrine here is much more eloquent to you than me, so I'll let her explain. Of course, ma'am. There's a plain abuse of your power. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. I simply must go back to my research so that I can be ready for the next symposium. Good luck, Andrine. Well, concealed works on tomes that may be removed from the premises. I would be more than happy to wade through the stacks for you, but I cannot take a plunge without some direction. Are there really that many books back there? Indeed there are, though Adeline was founded long ago. It was not long enough ago to predate the written word. The books are practically cascading with the shelves, so voluminous they are. Pioneers also contribute to the archives every day by returning from the jungle with field reports. It would not do for some of the information contained within to be seen by common citizens. Therefore, many of those reports are relegated to the stacks for safekeeping. In summation, it is possible to provide you with every tome from this ever-growing mass of vellum. I will need a subject via which to select a few relevant texts. Well, that's right. What topic do you suggest we have her look for? It's right now. The Founder King is right new. It's right. Well, wait but a moment, and I will return with the applicable volume. I trust this is the sort of tome for which you're researching. It's very elegant looking. With a lot of bookmarks. fucking base. What did we hear? Founder King August Adeline was a charismatic personage who incited a number of valiant individuals to join his cause. This feat might have proved difficult for lesser men, but for King August it was child's play. His character was unimpeachable and his gallantry non-parallel, even though those whom he defeated in combat would utter his praises before exhaling their final breath. Employing their uncanny charisma, he was able to subjugate the ferocious beasts that prowled the Adeline Islands, unify the warlords of the various allying islets, and establish himself as their leader. I like how that looks like a Galka Black Mage. This guy like right here. I like how you have the different jobs you can see there too. See Dragoon. This looks like a blue mage. White mage. Are the ones that wear the hat like this? I know what it is, can't think of it. That's red mage. Shit. Clicked the wrong button. These former warlords numbered 11 strong, and they formed what would eventually be known as the 11 of the 12 Orders. Excepting only the King's house. With the support of his 11 vassals, he turned his focus inward to the Abokian mainland and trod upon its primordial plains in hopes of taming them. Pressing ever further into the maze of vegetation, they stumbled upon a swath of woodland now known as Yersia Weald, wherein they encountered a tiger that loomed larger than the most expansive manse of the day, and whose pelt was irradiating gold and would catch the sun's rays just right to the melt of the eyes of any who dared glaze upon it for more than a few moments. This massive beast claimed to be the ruler of all who inhabited the jungle, and challenged the Founder King with an ear-splitting roar. "My name is Terrakulin, and you may only proceed once I lay lifeless upon the forest floor." With that dictatorial proclamation, the creatures surrounding the king withdrew, leaving what they assumed would be the best pickings to their pack leader. As a rejoinder, August vowed to skin the feline alive if he laid a claw on any of the king's followers, and the two began staring each other down in silence that finally broke half a day hence. The battle raged on for 7 suns, with it ending by the moonlight on the 7th night. Quite a battle. Neither Wildcat nor Warrior could deny the other's power, so they stopped the duel in favor of long-lasting friendship. "You're strong, let's be friends." As a symbol of the new alliance, the tiger entrusted his son to the care of one of the king's 11 bannermen. Oh, that's what's his name, fucking Draculian. This is the first known inhabitant whom the king befriended, but it is also far from the last. August continued to push deeper into the continent's verdant abyss, where he would confront still more natives seeking to drive him from the sacred territory. This is certainly a lot more descriptive than the last thing I read here. And it does this in a bit too much hyperbole for my taste, but it does convey the point that their battle was hard fought. Even better, it also tells us the answer to Sasuke's question. So the king and his feline opponent fought in Yersia Yield, right? That gets me thinking. The gold tiger that saved me possibly related to the one in this document? Yeah, absolutely. You already knew this, right? Of course, I'm a fucking smart guy. What? He told you himself? I guess you did say something earlier about being able to communicate with him. He possesses some arcane power by which he can speak directly to you without even having to open his mouth, right? That does seem rather strange, but I believe it's since you've already shown us something similar with the Leafkin matriarch. What really piques my interest, though, is how you earned his trust enough for him to tell you anything. This probably wasn't the best game to play with him, getting over sickness, because it's fucking my throat up. Founder King's battle. Founder King's battle, you say? Very well, I shall march back with an appropriate document post-haste. I trust this is the sort of tome for which you were searching. It looks exactly the same. my, that's right, look here. The most fearsome adversaries the king and his retinue faced during the Great Expedition were the Cimmerian adherents. With the aid of the Aurelian Tiger, King August and his forces plunged deeper and deeper into the Wildlands. However, with the fall of night came heated battle with the Cimmerian adherents, an event that was repeated seemingly ad infinitum. No matter how many victories they earned or how many foul creatures they dispatched, the night continued to bring with it an umbral assault. The abominations knew neither fatigue nor fear and plagued the retinue to its breaking point. The Fiend's reign of terror did not stop at the king's party, though. The creatures were said to loathe all beings that draw breath or energy from the sun. They poisoned the land, blighted the trees, and massacred every animal they laid eyes upon. As the days passed, the king learned that these dark minions had beleaguered the gold pelt in his forest for countless nights. The Epiphany redoubled their determination. No longer were they both fighting for themselves, but for their companions as well. Then, one evening fell, a bloodbath rained down upon the Blokian jungle, tainting its lush vegetation a mournful shade of red. The event began with an enemy ambuscade. Reign upon reign of nocturnal horrors encircled the king and his followers. The danger became more palpable with each passing second as the shadowy grunts ilmed ever closer. The resplendent feline expended his remaining stamina to unleash a terrifying attack that felled all his running enemies. The selfless act bought the king and his companions enough time to escape, but also cost the tiger his life. That sucks. Poor tiger. He's like, revenge me! She's crying. How tragic. The tiger died to protect August Adeline. It's that, that's, okay, so I didn't put the two and two together. I just remember, like, that guy looks kind of familiar. So August is actually a trust that you can get. Huh, how about that? Incited by the display of Wildcat's bravery, his son the king and the monarch's 11 stalwart crusaders pressed on in the face of the Nightmare's barrage, and he's actually really fucking good. The conflict lasted for so long that all involved lost count of the days spent cleaving chunks of flesh from their assailants. At last, however, the forces of the night were pushed back to the sorcerous ruins from which they first emerged. It was there that the explorers were met with that which controlled entirely of the Cimmerian adherents. The mastermind behind the invasion of Book and the destruction of its lands was... Who or what exactly reigned over the Cimmerian adherents? This is getting really good. Let me turn the page and I'll find out. No, just my luck. The most important page in the entire record has been ripped out. Wow. But wait, haven't there been sightings of beings similar to what this text calls dark minions and Cimmerian adherents? If that's the case, why are these creatures appearing again out of nowhere? They should be confined to the pages of history books and the lines of old wives' tales, not roaming the jungle of present-day Albuka. If that's the Cimmerian adherents crawled up out of the subterranean den at the behest of some being, if only we knew its identity. If only we did. Alright, let's learn about his death. The Founder King's death it is, then. Please bear with me while I search for the script germane to it. I read to inform me that while such a text does exist in our records, I simply cannot find it anywhere in the closed stacks. What? How can that be if people aren't able to check them out? Well, according to the log, we gave one of the ministers special permission to borrow it. One of the ministers? Yes, it says that... It says here that we lent it to Melvian de Lacroix. It's the dude that normally does the shit at the docks, but he's got his disciples doing it, so it's all fucked up. Melvian? What does he want with that text, though? extremely sorry for both the interruption of my tardiness, Andarine. We have taken much too long to return this tome to you so kindly lent us from the closed stacks. Why, Lady Ursula, with Astrite and Tau, I do not expect to see you two here. What may I ask is that you have come to research. Perhaps we should continue this discussion after I finish what I came here to do. You see, Lord Melicroix's butler informed me that a rather peculiar tome emblazoned with a Selene library seal been lying on his desk for an extended period of time. However, the minister himself is indisposed at the moment. And luck would have it, I had business to conduct in the vicinity, so I am here in his stead. Thank you so much for your diligence, Estona. And I'm sorry you had to. This is it, Ursula, that's right, this is the book I was talking about. It's the only one in our archives that deals with the death of the founder king. I got the impression that the Lord Melicroix was particularly concerned with the contents of the text. I would often see his nose buried within its pages. I surmised that this was the reason that he had yet to be returned. What was so enthralled with it that he could hardly put it down. Let's not waste any time, that's right. Skip past the table of contents and on to the real text. Alright, let's find out how he died. Not a soul bore witness to the king's demise. The king and his followers stepped into the mysterious ruins, wherein the Serpentine Labyrinth such due to the fact that it contained as many branching passages as leaves in the jungle sprawled before them. The Serpentine Labyrinth? Does that sound like anything you've heard of before, that's right? It sounds like Ra-Kaznar. Is that the ancient structure embedded within the cages of Khmer Drifts? Now that you mention it, I do recall the story from my youth about a certain old building buried deep underground. Ra-Kaznar and the Serpentine Labyrinth could very well be one and the same. I always assumed such tales were told only to scare children or stimulate their imaginations, but maybe there is some truth in this one after all. Either way, let's continue reading before we jump to any conclusions. The hordes of uncanny terrors that crawled above ground to corrupt the land all did so from that very labyrinth. By the time the king's ranks had been thinned by the droves of aberrations that had already fallen to the hero's blades, however, that did not the least shorten his strides into his den of iniquity. Each footfall they took resounded with a booming determination to prevent this Caligulous menace from ever resurfacing. Oh, I know this place. I did go here for, what did I go there for? Maybe I do have the last survival thing. I remember going there for something, but we only walked right inside the door. Yet with the exception of our once reborn, the steps of every person who made this descent with King August were silenced within that abysmal mausoleum. The lone person to survive was Mortimer, the king's general and tamer of beasts. He emerged from the chaos of the Golden Tiger's next of kin, and no one else. The Founder King nowhere to be seen, and most of Mortimer's account lost in the slow tick of time. All we can do is conjecture about the king's fate. So no one ever saw him die. 4 inches. That conjecture sadly can only be based upon the few curt words his general spoke of the terrible incident. For then we conclude that King August expended his life inside the bowels of the Serpentine Labyrinth, clashing with... Once again, page torn out, right? Well, surprise. For the goddess' sake, the rest of the tome is completely illegible. The battle was a spectacle of atrocious beauty, with hacked limbs and ruptured veins decorating each and every winding corridor of the subterranean maze. Explorer after explorer in the king's retinue was struck down, but not before they could drag regiments of opposers to the grave with them. King August used himself as a shield to allow Mortimer time with which to return soilside. With little to no room for error and even less for a respite, the monarch's chances of climbing back up from those treacherous depths were lamentably slim. Mortimer hurried back to Castle Adelan, the king's cherished blade swinging from his side, and a message for the sovereign on his lips. No more shall we colonize the hinterland. With that, he passed the sword on to the Callow prince and princess and promptly departed. Ortherson. His orders fulfilled, Mortimer vanished from sight, never to be seen again. Even after his disappearance, tales of his and his feline companions' efforts to preserve the forest waft above the heads of citizens throughout Adelan's bifurcated districts to this day. So, King August never did make it back above ground. This grave in Rala Waterways is nothing but a memorial. This grave in the waterways? There's a sepulchre that was erected in the Raloi Waterways for the founder king. I always assumed that his body was entombed there, but that doesn't seem to be the case. That is the first I have ever heard of this as well. Perhaps Chancellor Ignis could provide some insight into this quandary. Maybe. Though I suppose your father was also disappeared under peculiar circumstances, he may not have yet told Ignis anything. Oh, Malthalas of me. I should not have touched upon such an obviously sensitive issue. Of course. Ask her. Have you excuses living in your ears? Did you not just hear that this is a delicate subject for the princess? Care not whether you are a venerated pioneer, there are some topics you simply do not broach, no matter how your station. It's alright, I don't mind. It never occurred to me that the building a grave beneath the city amongst our series of canals was odd, but thinking it over, why not erect a monument in one of the plazas where everyone can see it? Here's the point. Anyway, we've done our job researching. The Sumerian utterance, the subterranean labyrinth, the truth about the Founder King's grave. I feel like I have more questions now than when we first came in, but this should be more than enough to appease the surly serpent. Let's make our way back to Mount Khmer and find out once and for all what's ravaging the jungle. Should have looked at the one about the sweets before, but oh well. It's probably just like a funny remark. Okay, we need to go back to the dragon. He's gonna ask us 7 questions, we just have to get them all right. Do 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 do. Are they still down there? They are. Wonder what he's doing. Oh, dragon, wiki wiki. It's time to show you how smart we've become. In like 10 minutes. Petulant children, did I not ask you to be gone from my sight? We swear that we have no intention of harming the jungle. Please, hear our plea. It is my sworn duty as a protector of this land to confirm if your intent matches your words. There's little of which you engage in this test I am to put forth. But anger me further and your life is forfeit. Make light of this trial and I shall grind your skulls between my teeth and suck the marrow from your bones. It's quite the threat. We shall not. Well, how unexpected. The boy is putting on airs. Yet pride always comes before a fall. Let us hope that the fire in your eyes does not become unquenched by the avalanche of failure. And an avalanche shall be, should you make even one misstep. Let the first trial begin. The King of Legends was saved by a tiger whose mane looked to be woven from gold threads. What was the site of their struggle? That would be the Yosia Weald. The truth is never low-hanging fruit, free for all the pluck. It comes only to those willing to snatch it from the heavens. Though I did not bear witness to this truth, Terracool and August had certainly regaled me with their every last detail, and I could recite the story by heart. Beyond doubt, the two struggled valiantly, with August staring straight into the abyss and dragging forth victory from its gaping maw. Terracoolin thus chose to serve the fabled one, learning to love him much as I did. Now for the second test. Terracoolin's cub was entrusted to one of August's most trusted generals. Assume you came across his tact back in your studies. Who was this man? Mormar. Yes, that is correct. Truly powerful individual indeed, though his star did not shine as brightly as his lord's. August's 11 generals were the only men and women to ever move my heart. That remains true to this day. Let us move on to the final question. When all seemed lost and the king made his last stand, where was it that he fought tooth and nail, or tooth and claw? Promethean, a serpentine labyrinth. That's correct, young man. You have prepared well for this encounter. I recognize you as heritors to Augustus' will and will grant you one brief audience. Phew. That's right, I'm always glad to have you by my side. I don't know what I would have done. There are limitless limits to that which man has recorded in his annals. But as I said before, the truth is a fruit found only by the intellectually ravenous. Then you know how details hidden from our eyes and ears. Beyond doubt. Sajika, you mentioned that it was August, the Founder King, who released you. Your memory is sharp as a fresh blade, young one. What about you, son of man? Do you recall this tale? Yes, it does. I had taken you both for fools, but I now see that you were worthy. Yes, the tale is another of the series of truths. I am not a book in origin. The time is not right for me to explain the story in its entirety, but suffice to say, I was long chained down in a terrible domain, and it was the king who released me from my prison. Never again will I return there, nor will they. Who are they? You mentioned earlier the beings you know as the Nakuls. Perhaps as he said, I should not look down on the sons of man. As who said? Sajika. Sajika, as pioneers whose charge is to open up the jungle, clashes with the Nakuls are inevitable. We knew it from the very beginning. Pioneering. Surprising given that they are the guardians of Labuka. We are quite alike, the Nakuls and I. We are all residents of the land we cannot call our own, rescued from fate by the one you call the Founder King. They obeyed his will much like I did, and when he ordered them to guard 6 locations around Labuka, they were bound to obey. That is how they became to protect his land. The ancient pact declared that they are to remain distant from the affairs of mortals and shelter the jungle from harm. Their callings to shelter the jungle? Yet countless years have passed since the king made his request manifest, perhaps too many years. Some who witnessed those times firsthand have had their memories fade as the centuries passed, and have long forgotten the very reason for their sworn task. And not just the why, but also the what. You may call them the protectors of the land, young one, but you are sorely mistaken. It is not the jungle they pledged to protect. I don't understand. They were scattered throughout the 6 reaches of Labuka, to be sure, but not for the reason you think. They were sent to guard the 6 entrances to what you refer to as the Serpentine Labyrinth. Then the Serpentine Labyrinth is more than just a myth? When August made his last stand, he bid Mormir and I to return to the surface without him. Our purpose, given by the king himself, was not to guard his side, it was to deliver his orders unto the Nakuls. They were to seal the entrances to the labyrinth and ensure that nary so much as a man's breath penetrate to its recesses. Sajika, let me interject. These Thanacools are to guard the 6 entrances to the Serpentine Labyrinth? Correct. Our annals state that there are 7 Nacools, but you mentioned only 6 entrances. Then where is the 7th one? What is he protecting? He was different from the rest. In ancient times he was referred to as the Deathborn Zol, and his purpose was to serve with the hollowed leader of the Cimmerian adherents. You mean Augustus' sworn enemies? Indeed. He used one of the Zol triumvirate. But during his fierce clashes with August, he came to see the light. I'm gonna miss this tune once I beat this game. I know not where he is or what his task is, perhaps. No, speculation is not my forte. It is impossible for me to read. Sachika, I have more to ask of you. Augustus' sword, Arthasine, led me here to this very spot. Before I began primate tutelage, my father often read to us a poem, and one verse sticks out to me to this day. When disaster is nigh and evil has descended, brandish the sword to the heavens, and all shall be mended. The light that pierced the sky signaled to the top of this peak. I know that Founder Keen left something, or someone, very important for Thea. But Arthasine was not our only beacon. The twin world tree, whose power wanes as we speak, gave a Rosalicious poem to that sprite, as it gave something to you. The winds of change are sweeping Albuca, threatening to blow away all she embraces. And this change bodes ill for us all. Horrific beasts of unforeseen origin are appearing in greater numbers by the day. Land shivers threaten to knock over even the stoutest building in Adeline. Trees wither and die, and the water runs foul. Tell me, Sajaka, why? Why is this happening? Isn't there anything we can do to stop it? Please, if you know anything, share it with us. The seals in the Serpentine Labyrinth were thin. We're thin. The spirits of the past are beginning to reawaken. The spirits of the past? Do you mean those who commanded the Cimmerian adherents? None other. Despite his monumental strength, even August was not able to vanquish them. Merely sealing them within the labyrinth's confines took all of his strength, and yet he succeeded in stopping him. The Lord of the Serpentine Labyrinth. Hades. Ooh, shit. So this entity has a name. Darkness threatens to choke his land once more. He returns. The smell of the wind, the undulations of the land, is now as it was then. Like a harsh wind shipping away at a boulder, his return is sluggish but inevitable. And then what? When he returns to Albuca? You too, child, must sense it. Forces antithetical to all life, strengthen with each passing day. As they wax, the power of the world tree wanes. Having lost its twin, it coalesced all its energies into its roots and took hold deep within Albucan soil. It then spread throughout the land, quelling all the evil that sought to consume it. Countless years have passed since then, and as the world tree aged, it began to lose its potency. The land shivers are but a physical manifestation of this phenomenon. Each shudder is the world tree trembling in agony. And what if its power is completely lost? And all of August's work to contain will spill out into the surface. Hades' wait is almost over. His black heart is growing stronger as we speak. Calamity will befall us once again. Hades is a summon in a couple of Final Fantasies. Also, he's not a summon in 9, but he's a super boss. Is he summoned? No, he's just a super boss. The air is stifling miasma, the water a fetid pool, the land a shattered palisade, and the jungle a lifeless husk. Black flames will scorch the forest, rendering all life from stem to stern, spelling a brutal end for us all. This is an inevitable conclusion for all we have faced so far. How can we stop it? We cannot. We cannot be. Sachika, you stared into the Serpentine Labyrinth and lived. You must know something. Young child and her young friend. I am but a relic of the past. With that August were alive, things may be different. If not his body, then at least his spirit. But it's still chained within the Serpentine Labyrinth's most inner recesses. During an August crusade, he was ruthlessly devoted to his cause, and the World Tree was the height of his power. And I had just been freed, my blood boiling for revenge. These three forces combined to seal that dark malady deep within. Yet despite my most favorable of circumstances, we failed to eliminate the threat completely. This time we have no light to guide our, we have no light of hope to guide us. Though I would remain in this realm, I still bear the wounds I suffered during the struggle. Hasn't even been healed yet. As I alluded to before, even if I were healthy, the Phanarcine spirit is trapped and the real tree has begun to crumble. Yet despite all this, mankind insists on working its utmost to destroy the wilds. And here I sit bearing the same injury, and even you, ooh, he's getting pissed, even you and your lot I would forgive. But my heart still pulses with rage at the mere thought of the evil sealed away. Pant and comfort him. Unleash a feral scream. Roar! Did we just fucking go Super Saiyan? That's right, whatever has gotten into you. Stop that this instant. Forgive my sudden outburst. Whatever the case, our 3 lights of hope have been extinguished. But surely there must be something. Maybe if there was some way to save the world tree. The world is made up of one simple truth. If something can grow old, it can die. But perhaps there's a way to reverse the process. What are you proposing? First, a brief lesson. The world tree's origins lie not in Albuca. To hear August tell it, he retrieved a young branch of the world tree from a far-off land and planted it here, in this continent. It sprang forth from the soil and began to bud from before one turned to the moon. Its limbs stretched to its so high they may have touched Altana herself. If we were to do the same thing, and this time the roots are already here to work with. So if we were to find a similar branch, then the world tree would burst into existence much as it did then, only faster. But the question remains, where do they possibly find such an object? It lights then. The world tree grew in its sanctified place, filled with light and surrounded by serene waters. In a place that was once called Razoa. There was once a light's land on the frozen continent. Nevertheless, its presence, but its memory etched into a tattered canvas. Razoa, we only know it was a land wrapped in wars of flame. Wars of flame, flames of war. But I can feel it. A spark of brilliance located within a stifling place. Yep, there it is. The world tree sense that changes occurred here. It gifted a piece of itself, creating a new light's land here. I can feel it. Soft vibrations in the land calling me there. If it's as simple as going there, then no. Even though you have seen the reality, there's nothing you can do. I and I alone have the power to access the light's land. But the trauma I've suffered is too great. My contusion is too frail. Those blasphemous entities stripped me of my scales, cursed them, and scattered them throughout the land. This is why my wounds will never heal. I cannot fly as long as my scales are held captive. Not now, not ever. Even the slightest flap of my wings sends jolts of pain down my spine. Circling the mountain's top is all I can bear before I am forced to make landfall, arriving at the light's land beyond question. Sajaka, I've searched many of your lifetimes even for one, but to no avail. I have no other avenues to try, cannot disperse the evil. Where could these scales possibly... Are we gonna go searching for him? I think that's what we're gonna do. It's a lot of info here. That's how it ends? Okay. We want to enter Well Gates Racine. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good information there. A lot of juicy stuff too. Let's go to the next area.